Okay, well, guess what? Now we are live and we're here. We're recording. I've got
All right.
legendary. We're back. Well, let's introduce this. We never know what we're doing here. This is just all off the cuff. But we are here laying it down with Big D once again. No shoes on the bed. Courtesy,
Nice.
thanks to Meg yelling at us. I'm going to post myself up an extra pillow here to get comfortable. She unsubscribed after the first video, and I'll never let her live it down. But I'm joined here by a fellow old man in Counter Strike, Mr. Bonamant. Bonamant, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great, buddy. I'm glad we finally caught up now. Life just takes a hold of you sometimes, man.
Yeah, it seriously does. We've been
Crazy.
talking about recording this for literally from the moment I got home from Frag 18 on like December
Yeah.
10th, and it's now February 1st. So life gets a
Yep.
hold of you, and you know what you do? You make lemonade. So that's what we're doing right here.
It's true.
And
Absolutely, man.
well, yeah. How were your holidays?
They're good. We're a family of four. So me, my wife, my stepson, and my youngest son, Mr. Robert. So we are a family of four. So we're pretty busy during the holidays, normally things like that, as you can expect. And with all the tournament stuff going on and finally winding down, it's kind of like, Counter Strike ends, holidays begin, then work begins, and then frag begins. And so we get all of these things just, it's like an amalgamation of things, right? It just all piles on, and you never really actually get a break, it feels like, as you kind of go through things.
No, you certainly don't. I actually wonder how you specifically have all the time you do being a family man, full-time job man, and
Yeah, I know.
and number one land dad of all time as well. So,
Land Dad, I get that title
yeah,
now.
dude, you were definitely the land dad. You told me on day one, you're like, I'll be the guy wandering around, checking to make sure everybody's doing things. And what was Bonneman doing the entire land? Wandering around, making sure that everything was running smoothly and getting everything for everybody that they needed. Which
I tried.
well, you are the you're the glue holding the glue that's holding NACS together. So
I don't know about that. I think that's more the orgs than me, but I'm a small part of NACS, so I'll take that with it. But yeah, so it was something we had a bunch of things. That's the things people don't understand about running events and things like that. Um, is that there are a lot of things that can go wrong, and they do go wrong, and it's not it's going to go wrong. You can't plan anything to be perfect, but you have to realize that, like, as an organizer, as a human being, as a person, that you have to do everything within your control to try and right the ship, and make sure to make the best out of a crappy situation and things like that. And unfortunately, we had some catering and things like that were maybe scheduled for Kansas City that fell through literally the day of or the hour before. So it was something that I was literally, I didn't have a vehicle there. So I took Mr. Frag. Oh, no, he doesn't like that term, but I took Sasquatch Steve's. Uh, I took his keys. I was like, hey, I just need to go buy stuff, whether or not it's water, Costco pizzas. I don't care what it is. I'm going to go buy it. We bought out a crap ton of Monster, not a sponsor, during the event and things like that as well. So I think we went through close to about 150 cans of Monster over 4 days for everybody that was there volunteering, like literally.
oh yeah, there was. I felt like a celebrity just having well, one, backstage access with the staff badge was pretty that was a dream come true, just wandering around. I'm with the band, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
But the amount of monster that was flowing through that place, my God, we not a sponsor, but definitely a huge fuel of the people working there.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of crazy how much we go through, and especially like, the cool thing about working with, Fragadelphia is, for all terms and purposes, it's a nonprofit. Like we don't run it to make a bunch of money or anything like that. The goal really at the end of the year is not to lose money. To be honest, people don't realize we have to pay for travel costs. We had to buy a trailer last year. We had to fix PCs like 4 times and rebuild the production PC like midday during frag. It happened 4 times last year. We had to completely take apart. Well, not me, but that was more Ches Puff and gang. Had to take apart the whole entire production setup and rebuild it like during the event and things like that last year. So it was, it's things of upkeep and all sorts of things that go into that to make it to where Fragadelphia is just trying to literally break even really at the end of the year. We're looking for sponsors if anybody's interested, but hey, shout out. But it, I didn't make a single penny last year or anything like that. I think we probably lost money really at the end of the year. We didn't get as many signups as we were hoping for Kansas City. So, a kind of an unfortunate thing, but I think everybody that came out had a great time, all things considered and things like that. We had some other tournament organizers that were supposed to be there representing different games and things like that. They also backed out. So that entire, I don't know if you saw the setup there, but that entire middle area of the floor was actually supposed to be full of things, and other vendors and other tournament organizers and things like that. So we made the best out of that situation, and we were literally finding things out like a week before the event. Hey, all these vendors that you had asked aren't coming, or this tournament organizer who said they were going to do this event with you also isn't coming, and we didn't have anything to fill the floor. So at that point, we just opened up an entire gym floor and had basketball and the first ever Fragadelphia dodgeball event. So
which was
it's
sweet.
great.
That was one of the coolest things ever. I wasn't there because I was busy up in the land center pugging with some of NA's top talent, which is not something I'm normally going to get to do. It was a real toss up between the dodgeball tournament or sitting there and pugging with those guys next to me. And I went with the pugs, but next time I'm coming in hot for the dodgeball tournament, and I'm taking a W as well. No ifs, ands, or buts.
The best part, honestly, were the stream itself was cool, but seeing all the pictures afterwards that so we had 3 photographers at Fragadelphia, all volunteers, by the way. We had Munster, which people know Munster from coaching, EG days, stuff like that, with Party Astronauts as well. I love Joe to death, by the way. So we had Munster, we had Meg, and then we had Tawa. So we actually had 3 different photographers and some videography coming in from Tawa as well there, and kind of being able to see the pictures and stuff like that afterwards was actually the highlight of dodgeball for me. We're getting to see the action and still shots that were actually occurring during the event, and people taking a headshot or a shot to the bottom half. We'll be really PC for the conversation.
You don't have to be. We know who. This is Counter Strikers. We're talking to a guy named Big D. Come on.
Well, so I'll give you a hint at so my wife actually made up my tag name. So my actual name is Casey. Okay.
Yes.
But so Bonamant or Bonerman, as people will also call me, both is fine, by the way.
Or hot goth mommy
or no, that's my term. So that's my term. I'm always looking for hot goth mommies, dude. It's I own hotgothmommies.com. It redirects to my Twitch. It's all for fun. And maybe just do a little back end stuff. But but Bonamant actually is kind of a play on French. It's French technically. I do not know French. My wife took French. I took Spanish. But it means good lover in French is what it stands for. So funny enough, it's actually kind of a Big D thing, but you would have to be French really to get it.
I love that. Well, I think it ties into Boner Man as well, then being a good lover, because you'd assume Boner Man's a good lover as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's something I didn't know either. So we're a little bit of a kindred spirits in the name world.
Absolutely, man.
I'm gonna take a hard, sharp right turn back into frag talk. Not to avoid any sexual conversation, but we don't want to get the people excited too much at home. It's not made for kids. Every time I upload a video on YouTube, I can't say it's made for kids, but I don't tell them to not show it to kids either. So it's not age restricted. So, you know,
Got you.
we won't promote the OnlyFans here, but you know, if you look hard enough, you might be able to find what you're looking for. Now, my question to you is how long have you been with Frag, and kind of what's the story of you getting involved with Frag and getting it started, and yeah.
That's really funny, actually. Like, I find it funny. I don't know if other people will find it funny, but so I've known a lot of people inside of Frag and that have been affiliated with Fragadelphia for like a very long time, like 10 plus years, and things like that, like over the years and things of that nature. But I started playing Counter Strike in February 2002. I was a high schooler. I was like a sophomore in high school. We didn't have broadband internet. We had dial up, and I had an integrated graphics card on an Acer desktop that my dad bought at Sam's Club and didn't care what was in it because he wanted to play uh, Space Cadet was the game on computer. That's literally what he bought the PC for, and to do a little bit of bookkeeping work for the house. So that's what he bought it for, right? But I off and on, with Counter Strike, literally my entire life, I was decent at it really at a time. I played in Cal back in the day, not like Cal Open, but I actually got into main and did get an invite back in the day, and stuff like that. So I was decent at the game.
That's the Cyber
For
Athlete League, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, good old MDL, CDL, yeah, Cal, all that fun stuff. But so I actually left Counter Strike and went into professional Call of Duty for a while as well. Crazy, but I used to have some sponsors back in the day that used to send me to like local lands around the Midwest, and everybody that was playing, we'd stop what they're doing, and we'd all go into a server, and they give me a pistol and flashbangs, and the first one to kill me got like a prize pack. And things like that. I did walk out a few times with my prize pack. We legitimately did not give it out because no one killed me during the whole thing. Like it would be like 25 on one or 24 on one. I think you could get 25 in a server, but there were times where I walked out with the prize back, which was crazy to me to be able to do that with pistols and flashbangs to kill everybody else with rifles. So, but anybody that played COD back in the day knows that a flashbang is absolutely broken and stupid. And I exploited that to every inch of my being to do that back in the day, which is great. But then I met WoW. I met World of Warcraft. Stopped playing FPSs and just played WoW for a very long time, man. Met my wife playing WoW. So we've now, what is it? It's 2025. So this year will be 12 years. I've been married to my wife, who I met on WoW. But Counter Strike's always the passion. But originally, with getting back to the first part there of like how when I start with Frag, 2024, like in a formal capacity, 2024. My first event in person was Miami. Was the first one I went to, and we had 9 teams in Miami in a 32 team event. We had 9 teams there. So once again, Audible. We canceled Friday and just said it's going to be a Saturday Sunday event, things like that, just because we didn't get the signups that we anticipated. Number one, that venue, Rock Esports in Palmetto Bay, is amazing and highly underrated. I always try to retweet all their stuff I see, like when I see it, because like Cody and the ownership there are absolutely fantastic. Their desks and things like that are literally on like commercial casters, so you can literally wheel them and orientate the desks any way that you want. So if you want to build a stage for 5-on-5, 6-on-6, you can just move desks and like set up a stage and things like that. We didn't have really any PC issues or anything like that there. They had a kind of production area. It's not the largest venue in there, but it's really good at like what it does. That, and I couldn't find a good Cuban coffee, and Cody personally made me a coffee there while I was there, which was great. So shout out to Cody.
Yeah, shout out to Cody.
Yeah, the whole like area there, like people don't realize I got from Atlanta round trip for $130 to Miami. It's not expensive. I like people are saying, "Oh, Miami's going to be expensive." Well, maybe fly into Fort Lauderdale. Maybe not go into Miami directly, and then get a Uber and go down with a
Right.
group of guys and stuff like that. Schedule your flights. Do do things in a proper manner. Don't just send it. You're not a one man band
You're telling
sort of thing. But
NACSers not to just send it?
not to just send it, dude. We have that problem in North America. Of like, you know what? I'm going to make the play. And then, they get one tapped and there goes the entire round because you overaggressed and you opened up a position for somebody. Like, great job. Good stuff, really, at the end of the day. But no, man, like, it's something they initially thought, like, people that know me know that I love to gift Twitch subs is a passion of mine. And not to people necessarily, but well, technically people, because someone had to make the name. But the names that I have a spreadsheet, literally, that I have an API that pulls keywords out of usernames, and I just have a spreadsheet, and I'll just look on the spreadsheet and be like, sure, I'll gift this one. And it could be Hot Goth Mummies, could be the sub, it could be Amaranth, who knows? You never know who's going to get a sub to your channel when I'm in there. Anything can happen. I'll put it this way. But people know I have a little bit more of a disposable income. I kind of got lucky, growing up a poor white boy in Southern Illinois. So I got a little bit lucky later in life with a few lucky jobs and guesses and things like that. It kind of fell the way that they did, right? Um, but they initially asked me to come out to the Miami event potentially to be a sponsor of Frag. So they actually had reached out and said like, "Hey, you thought about sponsoring Frag?" And I'm like, I don't really have a reason. Like with my job, I don't really have a reason to sponsor Frag. We're not really affiliated in the esports market, nor would esports really build anything that I do personally in my real job, right? Because everybody at Fragadelphia, people also need to realize this. We all have real jobs outside of Fragadelphia that actually put money in our pockets. So when we answer you at 10 o'clock at night, when we answer you at 2 a.m., when we're sending out all of our tweets and all of that stuff, no one's paid throughout that whole thing. We're all just volunteering our time to answer your question and things like that. Like we don't make any money, but no. But I started, I got asked by Zach, Svaxa, and Richard, Chespuff, and Steve and Ed to come out to Miami and kind of see how Philadelphia is and things like that. And I work a lot in the B2B sector for my, regular everyday job. And I felt like I could be an asset to Frag. So I kind of asked Steve, like, hey, what do you need help with? Like, what's kind of the linchpin? Like, what's stopping you from doing a lot more that you want to do with Fragadelphia? And he told me what it was. And I said, yeah, I will do these things for you. That's literally how the conversation went. And then I've just kind of added on a little bit more each time and try to take more responsibility for the things that I can control personally for Frag. And, initially it was like I was there and we had a caster no show for like one event or something like that. Someone said they were coming and they didn't show up. And so then I hopped on casting and like, I'll do anything. I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter to me. I just want Fragadelphia to succeed because everybody remembers Fragadelphia back in the day with, it was like the place to be and things like that. And unfortunately, COVID kind of screwed it up for everybody. Sponsors weren't coming in for esports. Everything went online. There was nothing happening. There's no physical events really that were happening. If you did, it was all masked up and, elbows, and stuff like that, which was needed because people are dirty. Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Good Lord, dude. I cannot tell you how many people I see go to an event and not wash their hands. Please wash your hands. That's the stupid stuff like that is the reason why germs spread. Don't be the reason that germs spread. Like that's why COVID ran the way it did.
But
Like
we
stop being
can't
an
see
idiot.
germs. How do I know they're spreading? How do I know
Oh
that's
my
not just a
God.
lie?
Yeah. But stuff like that, like just be whenever you go to a land environment, please be courteous. Like realize someone owns the building that you're in and someone has to clean it up afterwards. Don't be that guy. Like it's not nice to do that. We were at Scrims Esports in Chicago. Someone broke the toilet handle, dude.
Mm.
Like they snapped it off.
And then didn't
So you
say
couldn't flush the
anything.
toilet. No, someone had to go in there and then naturally, the toilet's got, stuff and you can't flush the toilet, right? So they block off an entire bathroom and now we're running a 32 person team event with staff and spectators and there's one bathroom in the entire facility at this point because we've knocked out the other one. Like don't be that person. So I literally being land dad, right? You brought that up about me being land dad, I went to the owner, Catherine, and said, "Hey, I can fix it. Where's the nearest hardware store?" And she told me to go to Ace Hardware down the road. I went to Ace Hardware, bought the entire new, lever and things like that. There was also a seal leak, specifically with that toilet, so I bought another seal and I took apart the guts of the entire toilet, put in the new seal and the handle, cleaned it, and we opened that bathroom back up in about an hour. So, and I spent that money out of my pocket. I never got reimbursed for it. They were nice enough. People are there are still good-hearted people out there. People also forget that, but they wouldn't let me pay for food or drinks or like anything like that the rest of the time, right? So it's something where it was like, they may have not known how to fix it either, and they would have hired a plumber. If you bring out a plumber plus parts, you're probably talking 150, $200,
Right.
really, at the end of the day. And I did it for $38, I think was all the parts that they cost me and, my labor and stuff like that. So like literally I will do anything to help an ACS get to where it needs to be. Right. But
Including fix the toilets because you jackalopes can't handle not breaking shit. Come on now.
like we break desks, we break keyboards, we break mice, we break the freaking toilet.
We got
Yeah,
that
we break
gamer
hopes and
rage.
dreams. Yeah. Yeah. Apply your gamer rage appropriately. How about that? Let's do it. Let's do that moving forward. That would be great, right? No, but it was something like Fragadelphia had all these things behind it and stuff like that before. And once COVID kind of passed and there was a little bit of a rift and things like that, where they moved away from, FTX was a big sponsor of Frag and things like that. And obviously FTX doesn't exist anymore and stuff like that. There's like, what do you want us to do? Like, there's no FTX money sitting behind Frag anymore. We essentially had to Fragadelphia really like post 22. The reason why there was such a gap between 17 and 18 was Fragadelphia essentially got entirely rebuilt, like from the ground up. Like everything got rebuilt. We had to find new sponsors. We had to find new people, and like things like that have really happened like over that time period. So people don't realize what Fragadelphia had to do to get back to where it was, and we're still very much like trying to drive it home and put forth a good product and bring back land for North America and stuff like that. Especially now with VRS points, right? You got to find a way to get them. And, we have enough people and good minds that are around Fragadelphia and esports contacts to where, like, we follow the rules. So we have been in contact with Valve, right? As much as they'll respond to us,
Right.
we're a very small piece of the Counter-Strike ecosystem, right? But we've done everything we can in 2025 to make sure that our bigger events, not like our small little like $1,500 events, but our 10K prize pool events are VRS qualifiers for teams because there's not a lot of it happening in North America. So everybody's points are just degrading. Like it just depends like whose points fall off faster at this point because we don't really have a lot. Unfortunately, Launder's land kind of grenaded a little bit there due to some networking issues and things like that. But like that was the first VRS event we were supposed to have and things like that. So it's truth be told, it wasn't Launder's fault. People like to want to blame him for that, but it really wasn't. At the end of the day, it was something that was outside of his control for that event. I won't go any further into it, but You know,
The research has been done and it's out there and available to people that
okay,
want to find it. So
yeah,
I'm aware. I will substantiate Bonamant's claim here that it is not Launder's fault personally.
it's not his
It's just
fault.
Launder's land, so it's easy to blame the guy whose name is attached to the
Yes,
thing. It was not his fault. It was not short-sightedness. It goes back to what you were saying about something will go wrong at a land no matter what anytime, and unfortunately this was something that was a little more larger scale and really screwed over a lot of people there, and it was a
yeah,
lose-lose for everybody out there in Launder's land. There
it
was
really was.
nobody in the background going, ha ha, I got away with my scheme and made a few more bucks or anything like that. It was,
No,
yeah, nobody's happy about it. Well, I want to
no,
ask you actually, and I'm sorry if I'm cutting you off. I want to ask you
no, you're good, bud.
to uh, about like the VRS and the land system in North America, because like you said, we just don't have a whole lot. I mean, CCT even just got their VRS stripped of them because they're not following the rules appropriately, right? And I don't know
Yep.
as much about that, but that's another thing you can go look up. But like Frag feels like it's kind of the only thing that's got VRS points attached to it in North America right now, save for I'm assuming Challenger League has VRS points attached to it as well.
Yeah, based on their policy, I believe that they do. The hard part is that they made these rule sets and there's not a lot of open communication about it and transparency and things like that that are actually occurring between. So people think that like ECL is like ran by Valve. It's not. It's considered its own TO. Like it's its own tournament organizer. So if anybody wants points for that, they have to follow the rules. And unfortunately, the only way we actually know what the rules are is when someone breaks them. So CCT breaking the rules showed us something. Launder's Land not announcing in time because they had to apply for an exemption for that, right? Um, that showed us something, but we were aware of that in the beginning already, sort of thing. But since then, they've actually only made it where we have to do it within 2 weeks. So it used to be a full. I think at one point it used to have to be you had to announce everything within a year of the event, and then it was 6 months, then it was 90 days, and now it's 2 weeks. As long as you're not a tier one organizer, so like we have to announce an event a minimum of 2 weeks before it closes, and things like that for signups. Like that's our requirement as a tournament organizer, and to have our events covered by HLTV. Like those are the two things that we know that we cannot break. The things we don't have to worry about, right? We're an open system. We don't do invites. We never have to worry about invites because we don't do them. So that whole thing that happened with CCT literally cannot happen to Frag because we don't do invites. If you want to play in the tournament, come on out. Pay the registration, pay your team fee, venue fee, whatever it is, and come out and play and try to get some points. Like literally, we don't care. We file all the paperwork we need to with HLTV. We send all the emails we need to Valve. We announce them when we need to announce, right? We are doing everything in our control as a TO to make sure that we're qualifying for VRS. There is not a single TO out there that I can see in tier two in North America that can say we can guarantee Valve VRS points. I don't think it's possible at this point to guarantee VRS points because we've seen, things happen with tournament organizers to where they just take them away. So, I feel horrible for the folks that went to the CCT thing and halfway through the first round of play-ins they're like, "Oh yeah, so we're not a VRS event anymore." Or you spend all the travel and expense to go to Launder's Land and stuff like that. Like I felt so bad for those people, man. That was my first concern when that happened was like, man, all the people that traveled out there and things like that aren't even going to get to play in it now and then kind of had to stay around the venue and things like that for things that were outside really of a lot of people's control there. Like I felt so bad for those people, man, because it's like it's not just Canadians, right? You have people from America who have crossed the border essentially into Canada, and they're in an area that is very unfamiliar with them, and they're having to now find something else to do, right? Um, it sucks, but I don't trust tournament organizers that can say like, oh, we can guarantee VRS points. So I run the Twitter for Frag, most of it. There's still other people that post on there, but you'll see me respond to people saying we do everything that we can to go within the rule set that we know and that is published by Valve. We are doing everything we can. We have talks about it freaking daily about, hey, did you see this? Did you see CCT did this? Did you see like all of these Yellow Compass did this? Like we're looking at all of these TOs and responses that go out, right? Like it's something that need to be done, right? I don't think Valve did this in it with bad intentions, right? I don't think it was just from a place of ill intent. But when you're going to put in a rule set, what if someone has a question about the rule?
Yeah, who's your contact?
Wait a week. Right. I can't wait a week for a response. Like we're running an event. Like you have to tell us something, right? I will tell you the someone who helps us out a lot. Everybody knows M&M's from HLTV. I love Jeff.
Shout out Jeff.
Jeff is a vibe. If you have not met Jeff, you need to go meet Jeff. Jeff being in journalism as much as he is around North America Counter-Strike, right? Jeff is just an invaluable person to North America.
Seriously.
He really is. Like, Jeff has helped us out so much with just finding a contact. Like, just find us a contact, someone we can email, someone we can call, someone we can reach out to on Discord, DM on Twitter. Don't care what it is. Like, Jeff does so much to keep North America relevant in Counter-Strike. It's insane. He's literally devoted to it. Like, and then to see, like, unfortunately, that restructuring that happened with, Dust 2 and stuff like that happened to Ryan and Jeff and everybody there. And it's just, man, I don't know what to say. He lives an hour and a half west of me. So he lives near me as well. I plan on getting lunch with Jeff soon. But there are so many core people in North American Counter-Strike that get taken for granted of what they do. And Jeff is the number one example of that Jeff does all of these things and people will go there and pick a wording choice out of an article for him or something like that. Like, screw off. Like,
yeah,
you don't know what Jeff does. Like, don't do that.
Jeff with his journalism for NACS is like a prime example of how important journalism is to, like, just freedom in a movement. Like journalism is the thing that is shining a light on the truth, the hard truth that a lot of people don't want to swallow. Jeff is there, and even through all the BS over the last year, through I don't know if it was Better Collective or whatever, whoever it was that, like,
it was
through Better Collective ransacking through, I think, the whole Rush, because they picked up Rush B Media, right, which was Dust 2 and all them, or am I mixing my people up?
Yeah, that was Ryan. I think Ryan specifically started Rush B Media.
Okay, but like
Ryan Friend,
right? Yeah. But either way, Better Collective really went through and gutted a lot of the stuff. And like, I remember coming back from Frag and reading online how Better Collective was looking for new people after Jeff just got let go. And it was like, you have got to be kidding me. You have the greatest journalist in NACS right there. Hire him back immediately. Like, what are you doing? So I was happy to see Jeff got his job back. But man, talk about a stoic figure in our scene doing what's right, even though it's often hated. I know many people with main character syndrome right now in the world believe they're the meme of the one guy standing up to a big crowd of people with whatever thought and telling them they're wrong. Jeff actually is that guy doing that
He really
job
is.
right now. Like, yeah, big shout out to Jeff. He is
Yeah.
well, yeah, okay. My next question for you is we talk about the VRS, we talk about the start of Frag. Obviously, you want to see Frag become more successful, and you want to see like you want to see it grow and be kind of its own self-sustaining thing, I'm sure. Does that mean that you
End goal, right? Yeah.
does that mean that you don't want to see other tournaments, or do you want to try to kind of carve a path for there to be more tournaments like Frag in our region?
There so we can't at the end of the day, like yes and no is the answer to that right away, but we can't be the only tournament organizer in North America. Like we can't sustain being the only TO, right? It we would love other people to come out, but the problem is people don't realize what it takes to run a Fragadelphia. Like we see people come and go all the time. Sorry, Perseverance. But
Schiff.
we see don't even get me started on
Yeah,
them.
let's
But
not.
let's not, dude. But I would love someone to come into North America as a TO and actually ask other TOs how to run it. And don't don't actually, you don't have to really care what we tell you or anything like that, but at least heed the warning, right, of what it takes to actually run the investment, the people. Like if we were all paid at Fragadelphia, like I don't know, a livable wage. Let's just say I make, I don't know, $40,000 a year, right? Which isn't really even livable now, if I'm
Not
being
for a
honest.
family of four.
No, not for a family of four, but let's just say I make $40,000, right? So doing what I do, then you have Steve, Ed, Zach, Ches, Joe, like, and let's say that's, it's six people, right? By $40,000, that's $240,000. Who's given us $240,000? Like, where is that coming from? Like that right there, and that's just paying for like to have people on staff, right? That doesn't include any sort of transportation cost, equipment, upkeep, paying for volunteers' food when they come out to events or anything, paying the venue fees to rent the venues. Like we have to pay. We don't get them for free. Like we have to pay to go to someone's venue and host a tournament there. Like they don't just let you in the door or anything, right? People just think like, oh yeah, you get sure host an event here and then bring a bunch of outside food in so that they can't sell any of their food, which is how they really make their money. Like, what are you guys thinking? Like, the other part is I'll bring that up as an example. Like Scrims in Chicago has a literal kitchen in it. Like you can order hot food in there. So they have a license to sell food, and people are trying to bring in outside food or drink. People don't realize that that is a violation of their food license because if you get sick and you had food inside their establishment, they are liable for that. So respect the rules when you come to a frag event, please, for my sanity.
Landad says it's
Really,
so.
at the end of the day, Landad said it. There you go. But no, it's something that I don't know, man. Like we have to have something else in North America. I love what Jason Lake and Complexity have done. Everybody knows I'm a Complexity fan. I dress up as Halzerk for God's sakes. Like, and that was just a joke. I was doing it as a joke. Like the whole thing. I didn't expect really anything to come of it. I showed up to IEM Dallas and I literally went frame by frame on like the ESL video and tried to find all the Halzerk stuff that he was wearing. Unfortunately, they didn't make that. I think it was Tommy Hilfiger hat was what he was wearing in that video. I could not find one of those, so I opted for a Flom hat because that's the next thing North America would recognize there. But like American trucker Halzerk making an appearance at like Dallas was literally on a whim, sort of thing. So, and then now, a shout out to them for asking me to come to Dallas so they could film a bit for the Halzerk resign video. Like, that's cool to have, the management of complexity and the team manager, shout out to Graham, reach out to you and say like, hey, you're coming to Dallas, right? Like, would you mind? Can we bring you up to Frisco? Is that okay to HQ so we could do something? I'm like, sure, but they said don't tell anybody. Okay, so I did have to sign an NDA for that.
Damn.
Yeah, there's a formal NDA that I couldn't say that what I was doing.
Well, now it's all out, now it's all on the table. We're getting the fresh cut from with laying it down with Big D here.
I know. I knew of Halzerk's resign well in advance of him resigning.
How hard was that to keep your
So,
mouth shut?
dude, I was so excited. Like, number one, he's like he's cool to be around, right? Like, okay, it's cool to hang out with people that aren't American, right?
It is.
We're all used to the BS. Like, we're all, it's just a different flavor of the day for us, right? But uh, to meet people from Europe and people that love Counter-Strike and people that believe that they can be an asset to a team and people who truly put in the work, time, and effort to try and make themselves a better person in and out of the server, I have nothing but great things to say about Hakon. So, um, like he's literally just such a cool person. And for me to dress up and cosplay Halzerk and stuff like that is just kind of a treat. And recently he's been losing weight as well and getting himself back into shape and things like that. So if people see him now, he's a much different looking Halzerk than he was even 6 months ago, right? It's kind of funny. I also started my weight loss journey, so it's also kind of the same thing of like, hey, we're both kind of doing the same thing, man.
You're running
It just
parallel to
happened that way.
Halzerk.
I know we're literally intertwined. I'm just the American version
You
of it, right?
you are. Well, okay. That actually makes me have another question here. I've got couple more questions, and then we'll wrap things up. I try to keep these about a pug's length because I feel like that's how long the average Counter Striker has an attention span for the 50, 60 people that watch these things. But hey, it's more than zero. Um, how do you, as like a North American Counter Striker, and feel about like all of these different organizations investing so much in EU talent or outside talent, not just EU, but outside talent from North America? And do you think that we're starting to see a refocus on our regional talent in recent times?
You know what? I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. I truly believe that organizations like M80, like Wildcard, even now NRG, like all of these orgs that are going out there and bringing overseas talent, not necessarily the tier one teams. I'm more looking at like the tier two scene.
Right.
So your M80s or wild cards, although hell of a job wild card, Jesus Christ. But those organizations going out and finding European talent, everybody knows in North America that the work ethic and the time and effort. I think Steele has probably said it a lot as well. Like people aren't scrimming in North America. If they do, they don't take it seriously. They fall back on time. They break promises. They're saying that they're going to do things. How are you supposed to build the ecosystem? How are you supposed to practice? Because you can't practice with a team on 100 ping, right? You have to have the talent at home to really do that. So bringing over Europeans into North American organizations, and unfortunately, what ends up happening is they tend to get pretty good. They just stay over in Europe, which then takes more people out of North America, really, at the end of the day. But I think it brings a whole new work ethic and to bring over that talent, and it kind of, it's new blood in the water. So like NRG bringing over Bro and things like that, like that's going to do nothing. Like Nitro is well aware of what that does, but like someone like Hext, getting somebody like Bro on the team. Hext is already a fantastic player with a great mindset, right, and a good work ethic. But to have someone like Bro come in, and kind of showcase that European style and even potentially even European connections, right? They're connected to other people that we aren't, because they're coming from overseas. Uh, it's great personally, and I've seen more people regionalize in North America, kind of look outside of your typical Counter Strike players for that exact reason, uh, because the people are aware that the same model and mold that has always been the North American Counter Strike player may not be the best anymore.
Yeah, that's well, and to return your phrase there, I think you hit the nail on the head. It does come down to the work ethic in North America. I mean, I I will tell you my personal Counter Strike story very briefly, which we'll write in a 10 novel series someday.
Wait, when is somebody going to do laying it down with Big D with Big D?
Well, yeah, one of these days, Big D's just gonna lay it down for everybody and just monologue for an hour at you about who I am and where I came from. I mean, I am somebody that I got my first PC when I was 23 years old. I'd been a console gamer my entire life. I've been playing video games since before I could crawl. I mean, there's pictures of me sitting in my diaper at 1 year old on the NES with my dad, staring at Bionic Commando, playing Mario, stuff like that. And it's been the central focus of my whole life. But I built a PC at 23 for Counter Strike specifically, so I could finally play Counter
Okay.
Strike after wanting to play it my entire life. Because I'd go to my cousin's house, play it on their computer, be in love with it, all of this stuff. And I started, this was 2013, started seeing like esports starting to come around. I was following professional Counter Strike, and then my idea to become a professional Counter Strike player was just to play a lot of Counter Strike and Pug over and over and over. And here we are 12 years later, and I'm going to be 35 this year, 13,000 hours in the game. I've never even hit level 10 on Face It because my work ethic, the truth is, my work ethic was ass. I never actually stopped to listen to what other people had to say or listen to what other people had to say. I had so much ego from my past gaming careers and stuff on Rock Band when I was growing up. I was one of the best in the world on the Rock Band drums when I was a kid. I was like, "Oh, I'll figure it out." And that is the number one thing as I get older and play more and more Counter-Strike and just accept that I enjoy playing Counter-Strike and try to give back in different ways. When you go into these pugs, you see these young up and coming kids that are so good at the game, but their work ethic is just dog shit. Like they only want to
Yep.
play the game. And if you don't immediately get along with them or you don't immediately gel with them, you're the dog shit player. You need to get out. I need to find my five stack. So seriously, that's my little rant during Bonamant's episode here. But seriously, to illustrate the point that this is why that is the typical NA player's mindset is I'm better than everybody else and I just haven't found the right spot instead of what can I change within. Do you feel the
Absolutely.
same way?
Yeah, no, because I mean that's how I started playing Counter Strike, was just doing a lot of casual competitive matches and stuff like that. Like I thought that I was like, oh wow, I'm really great here. I would be a really good asset to a team, and then I get on a team and realize I'm the biggest piece of shit out there. And so, like it's humbling. Like you can't go into somewhere and be like, oh, I'll just figure it out, right? You said that it's like I'll just figure it out. If that's your attitude in Counter Strike, you won't figure it out. You'll never will, and you won't advance anywhere past that because you're not open to be coached. You have zero coachability and zero effort, 0% of teamwork. Like you literally have just played your hand and realized that if you're not going to adapt, you will never overcome.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I think that segues here into my final question that I ask for everybody. And anything that we didn't cover, you can come back on another time because I'm going to try to keep this series going. And I know you have way more to talk about with your Counter Strike. We didn't even dive into the Cyber Athlete League Bonamant from back in the day. What were you going by
You
back?
don't want to.
Oh, yes, we do. What were you going by back in the day? If your wife came up with Bonamant, what were you going by back then?
So I had two aliases. One was just T-ville KC was always my thing, 'cause I went to Thompsonville. It was a little racist town in Southern Illinois. Uh, that town sucks. So I don't use that anymore. But my one that I was really big in, like COD and stuff like that, was waffles with 6 M's. Yep, that was the gamer tag, man.
Why did
That was the gamer tag back in the day.
God, I feel like I might have seen you back on Modern Warfare 2 back on Xbox 360.
I played a lot, dude.
It's entirely
Console and
possible.
PC.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, here's my last question then that I ask everybody. What kind of advice, and this can tie somewhat back into the work ethic we were talking about for young Counter Strikers. What's the soapbox for a minute outside of Counter Strike, life, anything? What's your message to the young people that you wish you could have heard when you were 15 years old?
Oh Jesus, I gotta be the parent.
Yeah.
Oh man, I know. I try to tell my kids the same thing every day. It's like, listen, I was also a kid once. Like I did this thing before, right? Um, I would say for the majority of people, you need to realize that there's not a lot of money in esports. Esports is a very large following. Esports has a very large following. Esports has the potential to be absolutely massive, and people think that it's massive right now. It's massive, but there's not any cash flow behind it. It's very hard for organizations to make a profit. All they are essentially are brands. They're brand awareness, but the majority of them are losing money when they operate, which is why companies go under all the time, right? It's because they lose sponsors and things like that. Anything that you can do to support someone in esports, not even Counter Strike related, the heck, get off of Counter Strike for a minute, right? Anything that you can do to support someone in esports, if you enjoy their content, if you enjoy the organization, if you enjoy the tournament organizer, if you enjoy the caster casting the game, watch watch. You don't have to donate. You don't have to do anything. Watch. Leave it on in the background. I don't care. Get them ad revenue. If you can't physically give them $1, give them your love and affection. Give them your attention. Things like that. Retweet them. Respond to them at Twitter. Give them, interactions on Twitter are one of the biggest marketing abilities that an organization, a tournament organizer, a person in general has. The more people that interact with a tweet, retweet, respond, talk, like, that's something that we can market to a potential sponsor to bring in more cash and revenue into esports. Not just Counter Strike, of course. We would love it if it came into Counter Strike, right? But anything that you can do to bring more visibility into the space, it does not have to be monetary, will do a lot more than what you think. And I think that's kind of the unsung thing, is that people don't, they may look at the tweet, right? They don't like it. They don't retweet it. They don't respond to it with a thumbs up or a weird GIF or like whatever it is, right? And that's essentially a lost voice, really, when it comes around to it. So support esports if that's something that you believe in. Support the people that are in esports. If you like a certain player, follow the player. Hop in their Twitch chat. Sending messages in Twitch chat actually helps with unique chatters. Like that's a one of those features and stats that get reported back to us. The little things count. really, at the end of the day. An extra 60 cents we can make on a Fragadelphia stream just by running an ad. Guess what? Maybe maybe we can buy a new USB drive and like forecasts. Like it's the little things that help, right? And just, I didn't have a lot of opportunity growing up, right? So that's what I do. What I do now is to give back where I can and to coach people where I can. And hopefully people are better human beings for it. And that's it, man. That's all I got.
I love it. That's poetic, beautifully spoken. Cinema, absolute cinema, as the kids say these days. You know.
Yes.
Well, okay. Bonerman, Casey, Bonamant, good lover. Thank you for joining me here on Laying It Down with Big D. And yep, that's it. Okay.
Awesome, buddy.
We'll turn